Oh, Taco! How about that one?
That's our new leaders right there.
Big Silly!
University of Montevallo, 24-96. National champions, Wallace State, Briar and Clinton. Hey there, everybody. Time for another new episode of the Rapala Collegiate Bass Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Cory, today being joined by Coach William Crawford and angler Tyler Cory, representatives from the University of Montevallo. Just finished off a three-peat, achieving college bass fishing history, winning the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Garcia for 3 straight times. They are the first school to ever win it 3 times. On top of that, they've done it 3 years in a row. Quite a stretch we've witnessed here the last couple of years. I've been writing the articles on the website, obviously on the stage at the events, weighing in these anglers, and then just keeping up with the college fishing landscape in general. And every week, especially this spring, it felt like more so than ever, 2 anglers in the top 10, maybe even a third, definitely multiple teams inside of the top 20 at each event. Montevallo's just been on a tear. They won this year's race by more than over 3,000 points over second-ranked Auburn and had that lead pretty much for the whole spring semester. We'll bring in Coach here real quick. What was this year like? Maybe set aside the fact that it was a three-peat. Let's just focus on the year, and we can get into the details of the history in a minute. But just talk about from this time last year until now, that was pretty much the full length of that season. What was the run like? How awesome was it? Was there anything different maybe from the past years that you felt like played out this season amongst the team?
Well, you know, the last 2 years have been what we thought have been magical years, and the guys have had really good seasons. And this year, man, it's like they just blew it out of the water and took it to a whole nother level. And, you know, from my perspective, I almost was trying to stay out of the way and let them do their thing because they were going so well and things were just running so smooth. And we're finally now with our program to where we have a lot of upperclassmen, and you could really tell the maturity within the guys and the way that they fish and the way that they present themselves is just top notch. And so, again, it was just really cool to sit back and watch. And as I told our guys with about a month and a half left in the season, I was like, guys, what y'all are doing right here, it may not mean anything to you right now. I said, but it's really, really special. And I was like, y'all need to enjoy this and take this in because, you know, the kind of year that they've had, it's one for the record books, and you know, they'll appreciate it one day when they sit back and look at the accomplishments of this year. And what I kind of gave them some stats to really put it in perspective. You know, the last 2 seasons, I think we've had somewhere between 15 to 17 top 10 finishes throughout the course of the year with, you know, 4 to 6 wins, something like that. And this year, it was same. We had 6 wins, but we had 42 top 10 finishes throughout the season. And that's just really remarkable to what they've done and just really, really proud for them.
Yeah, it's definitely awesome. We're going to have a feature on our website here in the coming days, collegiatebasschampionship.com. We'll do some more breakdowns similar to what Coach was talking about there. I tried to do a little bit of it before I came up for the interview, but I didn't even have time to do it all. I got through like the first 3 tournaments, for first dozen tournaments, maybe first 3 months of the season last year, and I'd already tallied up countless top 10s, top 20s, 6 top 5s, you name it. So the numbers you're talking about, I'll do a dive as well. We'll publish that on our website as we take a look at the history that was made this season with the University of Montevallo winning the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Garcia for 3 straight seasons. One of the members of that team, integral part to it as each angler is Tyler Cory. Tyler, come in here now. Tell me, as an angler, from your perspective, being a part of this team, what was this past year like for you? We heard from Coach as he was saying, you know, he just kind of wanted to sit back and let y'all do your thing and make sure not to mess it up, but be present and witnessing the history as you're out there competing week in and week out for 12 months. What was it like for you guys as a team and yourself?
Yeah, it was something super special. Like, when you were in the middle of it, you kind of knew that you were part of something special, but you just wanted to stay in your lane and let everyone do their own deal because everyone was on a tear. It was like, I don't know, something caught fire this spring. They say a rising tide brings up all ships, and that's what it felt like. Like, everyone was feeding off of each other. We were all learning from each other. Like, everyone was rolling, and it showed in the results. It was like, you came back to weigh in, and it was like, wait, what did he have? Like, all of our teammates caught him, and it was kind of a stress reliever for everyone who went out there on the water because man, you knew that someone on the team was going to catch him, and it kind of took a lot of pressure off of a lot of guys who, I don't know, usually kind of carry the weight, because it was like anyone this year could bring in a bag, and then the usual guys caught him. Some of the new guys caught him. We had some shining stars that I felt like really showed out this spring that hadn't showed their true colors yet, so that was cool to watch. Just having sat through 3 years of this deal, like, watching it this season, it was something super special, and I have a hard time believing that I'll ever be able to experience something like that ever again.
Fishing's a very unique sport. Yes, I call it a sport. Some people might argue that it's not, but having competed in college and then now we run the organization here, I'm going to go out on a limb and call it a sport. You guys are getting to function as a team, compete on the collegiate level. So let's talk from a sports perspective a little bit and offer some little bit of insight, or kind of how I want you to answer this question, Coach. So, big baseball fan. College World Series is coming up. Been watching a lot of it. Unfortunately, the Razorbacks got knocked out of the tournament, but that's okay. As it pertains to lineups, something I want to kind of allude to here. When you watch baseball, you get hot streaks, right? You get anglers or you get players, position players, batters in the lineup. They get hot, right? You can't take them out. You got to have them in there one way or another, whether you sacrifice defense and you've got a hot bat, or you want a good defensive player in and maybe you sacrifice the bottom of the lineup a little bit. Coaches manage a roster is what I'm getting at. For yourself out on the college trail with these guys, Montevallo has the resources and the assets to send a great deal of anglers out there. Kind of talk a little bit about maybe if you have to do any decision making on who gets to go, what goes into that, but also at the same time, maybe it's the angler pairings, maybe it's who goes to certain lakes. Is there any type of deal, like Charlie and Logan, for example, they had a great year. It started in the fall and it carried on through the end of the season. Are there scenarios where you're looking down your lineup and you're saying, these two guys have to go anywhere? I don't care if it's deep, shallow, clear, muddy. They've got to be out there because they're just riding a hot streak. What goes into roster management, deciding who goes to these tournaments, and maybe even who's paired together?
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up, Kyle, because I tell our guys a lot that I relate a lot of what we do fishing related back to baseball, with me being a former college baseball player, even college baseball coach. It's so funny that, guys get hot and you just have to ride that wave, and it may be somebody unexpected. And you just ride it until it runs dry, and then somebody else gets hot and you move them right in. So that does have a big play in how we send people to different events. And it may even be little things. Somebody may not have had a great finish at an event, but you see something starting to develop. And so you're trying to give them more time out there on the water and more events to get some things polished up, because it's going to happen sooner or later. And then when it does, it just strengthens your roster. And so yeah, that has a huge play in it. And it's all about feel. And how are the guys feeling? How are you feeling about the situation? And sometimes it's rolling the dice and you gamble but that's just what it's about. Our guys are very competitive anglers, and they're pushing one another each and every day. And so we just kind of look for certain tendencies along the way, and then hope we make that right decision and right lineup and keep our fingers crossed.
Tyler, Coach, talking there a little bit about the team and the makeup of the team, and you kind of hear the saying "iron sharpens iron." You're learning, and you might take I want to say, I can't remember what event it was. I was watching a weigh-in, and I believe it was Logan at an event. I might have the angler wrong, but he said something. It might have even been at the Pickwick Slam. Something to the effect of like, if you're not beating your own teammates at tournaments, you're not doing any good. And basically what he's saying was, we're in the top 5, top 10. We've got multiple teams up there, and it's almost harder to beat your own teammates than it is to beat the field. So when you guys are competing, if there's anything inter-squad that y'all do, or when you're out at other tournaments, talk a little bit about twofold here. Being on a team with anglers that are so good, what is it maybe that you're able to learn from them while you're out there? But also, is there anything where, it's like, some of these guys you might not be able to beat, and that's just the way that it is, and it's so difficult to be a part of that team, but it does make y'all better out on the national stage. You hear about it maybe even in like football. If Alabama's got a really good defense, well, if their offense can wreck the defense in practice, they can take care of anybody on Saturday. Kind of give a little perspective into maybe some stuff you've learned from the good anglers on the team and what it's like to be able to compete against those guys and then take that out to the national level.
Yeah, absolutely. when you're on a team like ours, you have to be competitive all the time with your own teammates because everyone is so good. It was, especially this season, you noticed it. It was like, if I can't beat my own teammates, I'm probably not going to be up towards the top. Like, it was incredibly difficult to contribute to the run that we had this year because everyone was doing so good. The mental game plays a lot into fishing, and I think I've learned more about the mental game from my teammates than I have maybe the physical game. We have a lot of guys on the team who are super confident in what their abilities are and what they're able to do on the water, and that kind of bleeds off to everybody else. And it makes everyone feel more confident in what they're able to do if they're able to beat them at that specific skill. The region of the country that Montevallo is in, it's almost unbeatable as far as learning on the water skills. Like, we have Guntersville 2 hours away. We have Eufaula 2.5 hours away. The whole Coosa chain is within a decent drive of campus. So you get well-versed in almost any kind of fishing that you would do across the country. So I'd probably say those two factors attribute to why a lot of our guys are so good and why we're so competitive on a national level.
We're talking with head coach William Crawford, team member and angler Tyler Cory from the University of Montevallo, number 1 ranked University of Montevallo, finishing off a three-peat as we've been talking about here for the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia. I want to circle back to that real quick, talking about the history and magnitude of the moment. So up until this season, I believe that UNA, McKendree, and yourselves at Montevallo were the only schools to have ever won multiple Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia titles. This season, capping off another victory, puts y'all in a category of your own, becoming the first team to ever win 3. History. I mean, it's a word that's got to be thrown around, right? Y'all have done it. Talk a little bit, Coach, about what the magnitude of that moment means, or if it's really even sunk in yet that y'all have achieved this, something that you've probably, wanted to achieve from the time you started this program. Now you're at that point. Talk about just the sum of the parts of the journey, what this means, and just the magnitude of being at a point where y'all have kind of reached a mountaintop in the game of college fishing and achieved something that no one ever has.
Yeah, it's starting to set in a little bit now that we're kind of 2 weeks out from Hartwell, and so again, it's something that we had circled basically on our calendars for quite some time. After we won the first School of the Year title. I told him, I was like, my biggest thing is, and this was kind of our form of motivation, I wanted to get to 3. I wanted to be able to make history. And I told him the only way for us to be able to do that is you got to win 2. And so when the second one came around, then it was like, all right, we've accomplished that. Now let's go after the main goal to make history. And so, again, the guys have just believed in everything that we've tried to teach and preach at Montevallo. And these are guys like Tyler that came to Montevallo before all the recognition and the hardware. And so, they're the ones that get all the glory for this because they believed in what we had to say and they helped get us here. And so without them, we wouldn't be where we're at. And so, it's really cool to be a part of something like this. And, anytime you win a championship, it's special. But to be able to do it in this fashion is really remarkable. And I'm just happy to be a part of it.
I want to talk a little bit about the program building, the future also as it pertains to recruiting and goals going ahead. So, Tyler, to kind of start into that, Coach was talking about, you're one of the more veteran anglers on the team, recruiting you in that process. Tell us a little bit about what that was like coming out of high school. What was your plan? Did you want to go to college and fish? Were you looking at other schools? What was it maybe that drew you to Montevallo? Tell me a little bit about that process, transitioning from high school to college and being a part of this now historic team.
Yeah, so coming out of high school, I wasn't sure if I wanted to go to a 4-year school. I had kind of set my sights on a 2-year technical degree and then going to work. And then I ended up being a 2-time high school All-American through Bassmaster, so that kind of segued me into the whole college fishing scene. And then I talked to a few other colleges and then toured Montevallo, and it felt like home from the second I hit campus. Like, when I talked to Coach, everything that he was saying was kind of lining up to what I wanted to do in the future as far as the School of the Years and the talent he was bringing in and the the entire program that he was building at Montevallo. It was everything that I wanted to buy into and then some. So that definitely helped me push towards that decision. And then, like I said, the location of it. Like, I've always felt like I was going to end up in Alabama anyways, through my adult life at some point, especially if I wanted to try and chase it as a career. So to put me down there 4 years sooner than I would if I would have stayed up north for college, that was another big selling factor for me with Montevallo.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about that recruiting. I want to say earlier this spring I saw a post that you made that the account made for the team, and it had maybe about a half a dozen names of honorable mentions, high school All-Americans, you name it, that are going to be incoming anglers on the team coming up this year. Tell me a little bit about recruiting, what the outlook looks like for the future of the team, because also not too long after that post, there was another one that I saw of all the anglers that were graduating. It's guys that we've become familiar with over the last couple of years, a pretty solid group of them, maybe 6 or 8 or 10 that are on their way out of the program. So there's going to be some turnover, some rebuilding that's got to be done. In a lot of cases, as yourselves and a lot of other teams, it's not even almost rebuilding. It's just retooling, adding guys to the program that are going to be able to pick up where the others left off. Tell me a little bit about getting out on the trail, the recruiting, what's coming in, and how that affects the outlook into the future.
Yeah, so we're kind of in uncharted territory right now because, again, we've had such a young group in the last few years that, we really hadn't had to experience a great deal of turnover. And we're starting to see it a little bit more now, and it'll really hit us next year is when we will really have a big dominant group that will graduate and be gone. And so we're kind of preparing for that because these are guys that have been able to contribute, be a huge part of our program since they came in as freshmen. And so knowing that, we've been out hitting it hard and heavy on the recruiting trail the last 2 years because it's hard to replace a group like what we're going to lose next year in 1 year. And so we've, again, been kind of mentally preparing for this and trying to figure out, all right, what are we going to need so we don't miss a beat when these guys leave. And so, recruiting is getting tougher and tougher in college fishing. People think that it'd be easy to do, but it's just like any other sport. There's a lot of great programs out there, and they all have a lot of different things to offer. And so it's just finding the right match for our program and the dynamics that we're looking for. And so, we're still recruiting nationally, and that's what's kind of set us over the top, in my opinion, and getting kids from different regions of the country. And we'll see what happens. Just because somebody's good on paper doesn't mean that they're going to be able to pull that same weight once they get into college. And, how long is it going to take them to develop and get where they need to be? So there's a lot of variables that play into it. But we're excited to see where the future may lead us and see what happens. But very excited about this young class that we have coming in this year. We signed 18 guys to come in and help be a part of trying to keep this tradition going. And they're excited. They're hungry. And that's what you need because they know that they've got to come in and make a statement to be a part of something like what we've built. So it won't be long. They'll be here on campus and be ready to get another season underway.
Coach, I'm going to double up here and ask you one more question before I jump to Tyler. As part of the roster management, we talked earlier about getting anglers out on the water and getting them, keeping the team hot and getting everybody out there. What goes into a little bit of the aspect of, now you watch half of my time spent in the offseason, whether it's basketball, football, you name it, we're watching this transfer portal happen at Division I athletics. Anglers have the same opportunity to jump from school to school. And, if they don't like something at one place, they go to another. Or if they're moving from JUCO community college 2-year schools up to the 4-year schools, there's different types of movement that happen. Though it's not on the same level as what happens in major Division I athletics, there is some of that. What type of work goes into it from a coach's standpoint, maybe as it pertains to retention? We're talking about incoming anglers and anglers that are graduating, but also keeping everybody happy when you have a team as big as Montevallo does. What's a little bit of the tricks of the trade, or what are you having to do to make sure that everybody's happy where they're at and, working for the better good of the team also to keep this moving forward? Because fishing can be an individual sport sometimes, especially once you get out of college.
Yeah, the biggest thing is, and I tell recruits as they come in, like when you decide, hey, this is where I want to be, you've got to be 100% 100%, committed and bought into what's going on here. And I think once guys get there and they see the dynamics of everything, I think they feel like, hey, even if they have a bad first year, even second year, that, hey, I'm still in the right spot. I'm where I need to be, because the ultimate goal for a lot of these guys is to make it to the next level. And they understand that, hey, if I can do it at Montevallo and have success, it's setting up those building blocks to make me successful with my career later on down the line. So it goes back to recruiting and finding the right kid and the right makeup for our program, to where they are happy with what's going on. And again, fishing's not like any other sport, to where, in baseball, for example, in college, a kid may sit the bench for 2 or 3 years before ever really getting any playing time. Well, I don't really see that in fishing. You've got to get out and get work in. And so giving kids opportunities to get out there and show what they can do. And that's what I tell guys. Even though we have a large team, you still are giving opportunities to get out there and fish and show what you can do. And it's what you make with those opportunities. So, kind of the misconception is, well, if I go to Montevallo, I won't have an opportunity to get out there and fish. Well, that couldn't be further from the truth. And Tyler could talk on that. But, again, giving guys opportunities, letting them develop and grow, and letting them, helping them, guide them in the direction that they want to be, so they can be successful, whether it's on the water or not, when they finish at Montevallo. So, again, it's just finding the right kid and the right makeup for our program.
Talking about opportunities, believe it or not, we're into the new season. The 23-24 season, the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Garcia is now underway. We had a school run event just this past weekend on the MCBC that's going to count for points. More on the schedule. Tyler, I'll give you an opportunity now. First, we'll have you talk a little bit about the opportunities that you've had and how kind of you felt like you've been able to get out, compete, and that's helped you grow, as we talked about earlier. But talk about the opportunities Montevallo's provided for you to get out and fish. And then second, with those opportunities this upcoming season, what do you hope to achieve for yourself and the team over the next 11, 12 months?
Yeah, when I came in as a freshman, I had a lot to learn. I grew up in Wisconsin. I came to Alabama, so everything was pretty much new to me. And I think Coach really took a chance on me and my partner in most of my freshman year to kind of not so much produce, but to learn and to produce later down the line with the knowledge that I gained freshman year. So from there, I was able to kind of fish my way into that usual traveling roster, kind of the upper tier of the team. And since then, we've just kind of ran with it. Me and my partner, Scott, have a good thing going. We never knew each other in high school, but through our time, sophomore and now junior year, we've developed a really good relationship together. We've seen places all over the country, from Louisiana to Michigan. The opportunities that we've been provided at Montevallo, I don't feel like we would have gotten anywhere else. So that was a big thing for me and Scott, to get some time outside of our comfort zone and to really learn a lot more aspects of the game. And as far as this upcoming season, obviously we're gonna set our sights on number 4. I don't think we're gonna change course at all. Everyone on the team kind of knows what this School of the Year means to everyone on the team and to the program itself. And I feel like for me and Scott, we're probably gonna try and make another run at that Bassmaster Team of the Year. That's a big thing that we put on our goal sheet alongside that. School of the Year is the Team of the Year, and we came up a little short this year, but we're really looking forward to getting back at it next year and seeing what we can do.
You hear Tyler talking about his expectations. Coach, I want to ask you kind of a multi-part question here, as this will be the last one before we wrap it up in just a minute. But how do you manage these expectations? Or do you kind of set a bit of a tone, a standard of what you expect, and you let the kids build off of that and know that they're going to kind of function within what you want from the team? And so you don't have to worry about them shooting too high or too low. You know that what Tyler just said is something that he can attain. And so it's rational that he would enter this season with those expectations. So talk a little bit about the expectations for the anglers and the team this season and what y'all want to accomplish. And as we do leave you here with this interview, anybody you want to shout out, say thanks to before we go, I'll give you an opportunity to do that when you're done as well.
Yeah, the saying around campus for us is that if Montevallo has success, the individuals have success. And basically what that means is that if we're at the top of the rankings at the end of the year, that means that we had guys that had incredible years. And so, yes, college fishing, it's an individual sport, but yet it's a team sport. There's a fine line between all of that. And our guys understand kind of the concept of what we've built and developed, and they know it will help them in the long run. So, again, if Montevallo's on top, that just means everybody had a great year and did the best that they could, and the results will lay out where they need to. As far as the people to thank and to give shout outs to, we have an unbelievable administration at Montevallo, starting with Dr. Stewart, our university president, who is an avid outdoorsman. And, this program wouldn't be where it's at today if it wasn't for him and the direction and guidance that he's given for this program. And, man, it's so cool to see our faculty and staff so supportive of what's going on within our team over the last few years. And then, our parents, we have great parents, great support system. It's so cool when we show up in an event, and it happened here at Hartwell this last week. I mean, we had a huge crowd of people there supporting the guys, and it's just really cool to see and to build those relationships with those people. And then last but not least, all of our sponsors, our donors, our supporters that help get us where we need to be. We get money from the university, but if we solely relied just on that, we wouldn't be able to do half the things that we're able to do. So it's a full team effort, not just internally with the guys and myself, but even on the outskirts. And I think that's what makes Montevallo such a special place is everybody understands what the ultimate goal is, and we'll do whatever we need to do to make it happen and allow these guys to have the resources they need to be successful.
That's awesome. Congratulations to the University of Montevallo, 3-time winners of the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia. Getting ready to make a run at a 4th. We're starting the new season. We'll have points dates out later this year. Like I said, we'll have an article here highlighting Montevallo's historical run. That's going to kick off a series of articles that are going to come out in the coming days, highlighting all the teams ranked inside the top 25, counting back from 25 down to 1. Check out collegiatebasschampionship.com over the next course of the week or two. We'll have all that on our website. Get it posted. We'll have it shared to social media, so be sure to look out for that. Coach, Tyler, thank you all again for the time today. Best of luck this upcoming season, and we'll see you guys here this fall.
All right. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you.
Fishing is all about connecting with nature. Then grabbing nature by the lip and holding it up for a picture.
If you want to be here, it all starts here. At Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, we have the widest selection of the quality brands you love to get you outdoors, whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out. Our friendly, knowledgeable outfitters will help you find the right products for your next trip. Shop with confidence with our low price guarantee. Plus, club members save even more on great gear with exclusive member pricing. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, voted America's best outdoor retailer.